The stars disappeared one by one as the massive ships emerged from hyperspace. Each vessel was larger than Earth's biggest aircraft carriers, their dark metal hulls reflecting no light. The Draconian Empire's Third Fleet had arrived at the edge of the Sol system. Commander Zarthek stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Dominator. His scaled skin shimmered under the blue lights of the command center. Through the view screen, he could see the small blue planet in the distance. Earth. Such a tiny world. Yet it remained free while dozens of stronger civilizations had already surrendered to the Empire. Status report, Zarthek ordered, his voice like grinding stones. All 200 vessels accounted for, Commander, replied his second-in-command. The primitive world shows no signs of detecting us yet. Zarthek's lips curled into what might have been a smile. Good. Begin Phase 1. Let them see us coming. On Earth, it was just another Tuesday morning at the Deep Space Monitoring Station in Colorado. Jake Matthews had been a colonel in the Air Force for 5 years, but nothing in his training prepared him for what appeared on his screens that day. Sir, we have contacts, announced Captain Lisa Chen from her monitoring station. Multiple contacts, big ones. Jake rushed to her position. The readings made no sense at first. Then his blood ran cold. How many? 200, sir. Maybe more. They're huge. Jake grabbed the red phone on his desk. It connected directly to the Pentagon. This is Colonel Matthews. We have a Code Black situation. Repeat, Code Black. Multiple unknown vessels approaching Earth. Within minutes, every major military installation on the planet went to high alert. President Maria Rodriguez was pulled from a budget meeting and rushed to the Situation Room in the White House. Screens filled the walls, showing data from satellites and ground-based telescopes. What are we looking at? The president asked, her voice steady despite the fear in her eyes. General Adam Foster pointed to the main screen. Madam President, these objects appeared 30 minutes ago. They're artificial, they're moving in formation, and they're heading straight for Earth. How long until they arrive? At their current speed, about 7 days. The room fell silent. Everyone understood what this meant. Earth's first contact with alien life wasn't going to be peaceful. Back at the monitoring station, Jake watched as one of the alien ships broke formation. It moved ahead of the others, stopping at a point just beyond the orbit of Mars. Then something impossible happened. The ship began transmitting in multiple Earth languages. People of Earth, the message began, cycling through English, Mandarin, Spanish, and dozens of other languages. This is Commander Zarthek of the Draconian Empire. Your world has been selected for integration into our glorious empire. You have 7 Earth days to prepare for our arrival and peaceful surrender. The message continued. Resistance is pointless. We have conquered worlds far more advanced than yours. Your primitive weapons cannot harm us. Prepare your leaders to discuss terms of surrender. Any attempt at aggression will result in the immediate destruction of your major cities. The transmission ended as suddenly as it began. Across the world, people stopped what they were doing. In Times Square, crowds gathered around giant screens replaying the message. In Beijing, government officials held emergency meetings. In London, the Prime Minister called for calm while secretly preparing for the worst. At NASA headquarters, Dr. Amy Chen led a team of scientists trying to understand the alien technology. She was one of the world's leading experts in theoretical physics, but the readings from the alien ships defied everything she knew. Their energy signatures are off the charts, she told her team. Whatever powers those ships, it's beyond anything we've imagined. Can we communicate with them? Asked Dr. Peter Walsh, her colleague. Amy shook her head. They sent their message and went silent. It's like they don't think we're worth talking to. The next day, President Rodriguez addressed the world from the United Nations building in New York. Leaders from every nation had gathered for this historic moment. My fellow humans, she began, her voice broadcast to billions. Yesterday we learned that we are not alone in the universe. The message from the Draconian Empire was clear. They see us as subjects to be conquered, not equals to be respected. She paused, looking around the room at faces from every corner of Earth. But we are not helpless, we are not weak. We are humanity and we have faced impossible odds before. Today I announce the formation of Earth Defense Command, a unified military response to this threat. The world erupted into activity. Factories that once made cars began producing weapons. Scientists who studied climate change now worked on defensive technologies. The entire planet mobilized in a way not seen since World War II. At Cheyenne Mountain, Jake Matthews found himself at the center of the storm. He was appointed Deputy Commander of Earth Defense Command, working directly under General Foster. Their headquarters buzzed with activity as military leaders from around the world coordinated their response. "We need to know more about them," Jake told his staff. "Their technology, their weaknesses, anything we can use." Captain Chen pulled up the latest analysis. "Sir, we've detected something strange. The alien ships seem to be having minor technical issues. Nothing serious, but their formation isn't as perfect as it was yesterday." Jake leaned closer to the screen. "What kind of issues?" "Small course corrections, communication delays. It's like something is interfering with their systems." Meanwhile, aboard the Dominator, Commander Zarthek noticed the same problems. His navigation officer reported increasing errors in their positioning systems. "Commander, we're experiencing unusual interference," the officer said. "Our quantum processors are running at reduced efficiency." Zarthek frowned. This had never happened before. The Third Fleet's technology was the finest in the Empire. "Run diagnostics. Find the source." "Yes, Commander." "Initial scans suggest the interference is coming from the primitive world itself." "Impossible," Zarthek growled. "They don't have the technology to affect our systems." But the problems continued to worsen. Communication between ships became garbled. Sensors gave conflicting readings. The mighty Draconian fleet, conqueror of worlds, was slowly being affected by something they didn't understand. On Earth, Amy Chen made a breakthrough. "I think I know what's happening," she announced to the Emergency Science Council. "Earth sits at the intersection of several cosmic magnetic fields. Combined with our planet's own electromagnetic activity and all our radio transmissions, we're creating a kind of static field." "English, please," said General Foster. "Think of it like this," Amy explained. "The aliens' technology is like a finely tuned orchestra. Earth is like 1,000 radios playing different stations at full volume. We're drowning them in noise." Q saw the implications immediately. Their technology is more advanced, but that makes it more sensitive. Our chaos is their weakness. As the third day dawned, the Draconian fleet's problems grew worse. Ships drifted out of formation. Systems that had worked perfectly for centuries began to fail. Commander Zarthek called an emergency meeting of his captains. "The primitive world is somehow affecting our systems," he admitted. "But this changes nothing. We will adapt. We will overcome. The Empire has never failed to conquer a world." But doubt crept into his mind. How could such a backward planet cause problems for the mighty Third Fleet? What other surprises did Earth hold? As the deadline approached, both sides prepared for what would come next. Earth's defenses were still primitive compared to the alien technology, but humanity had something else. They had chaos. They had unpredictability. And they had the stubborn refusal to surrender that had carried them through every crisis in their history. The stage was set for a confrontation that would change the galaxy forever. The fourth day brought worse problems for the Draconian fleet. Ship computers began showing error messages in languages that didn't exist. Navigation systems pointed to stars that weren't there. The mighty warships that had conquered 100 worlds drifted like confused whales in the dark ocean of space. Commander Zarthek slammed his clawed fist on the command console. "Explain this madness." His chief engineer, Vortak, pulled up holographic displays filled with error codes. "Commander, the interference is getting stronger. Our quantum processors cannot filter out the noise. It's like trying to hear a whisper in a thunderstorm. Have we identified the source?" "Yes, Commander. The primitive world broadcasts electromagnetic signals on thousands of frequencies. Radio, television, satellite communication, cellular networks. They fill their entire planet with electronic noise." Zarthek's yellow eyes narrowed. "Then we silence them. Prepare a warning shot. Destroy one of their communication satellites. The weapons officer hesitated. Commander, our targeting systems are also affected. We cannot guarantee precision. Before Zarthek could respond, alarms filled the bridge. A shuttlecraft from the fleet supply ship had lost all power and was falling toward Earth. In Nevada, Danny Rivera had just finished his morning coffee when his phone rang. As a lieutenant in the Air Force Special Operations, he was used to early calls. But this one was different. "Rivera, we need you at Nellis immediately," his commander said. "Something's coming down from space. Something big." An hour later, Danny led a team of soldiers across the desert. The alien shuttle had crashed 30 miles from Las Vegas, leaving a trail of scorched earth and twisted metal. Smoke still rose from the wreckage. "Careful," Danny ordered his team. "We don't know what's inside." They approached slowly. Weapons ready. The shuttle was smaller than expected, about the size of a school bus. Its hull was made of a metal that seemed to shift colors in the sunlight. Sergeant Katie Brooks pointed to a section where the hull had split open. "Sir, I see movement." Danny raised his hand for silence. From inside the wreckage came a sound like labored breathing, but deeper, stranger. Then a voice spoke in broken English. "Help. Please." The team exchanged glances. Danny made the decision. "Brooks Miller with me. Everyone else maintain perimeter." Inside the shuttle, they found the alien. He was 7 feet tall with scales that reminded Danny of a lizard, but his eyes showed intelligence and pain. Blue blood leaked from a gash in his side. "You are human?" the alien asked, each word careful and deliberate. "Yes," Danny replied. "Are you Draconian?" The alien nodded slowly. "I am Tactical Officer Kexar. My shuttle, systems failed. Your world, it breaks our technology." Danny called for medical support while his team secured the area. Within hours, the alien was transported to a secure facility where Dr. Amy Chen waited with a medical team. "Fascinating," Amy whispered as she examined the alien's injuries. "His biology is carbon-based like ours, but with significant differences." The alien, Kexar, proved surprisingly cooperative. As the medical team treated his wounds, he answered questions about the Draconian fleet. "Your planet is wrong," he told them. "In 200 years of conquest, we have never seen anything like it. You're chaos. It poisons our systems." Jake Matthews had flown in from Colorado to oversee the interrogation. "Can you help us understand why?" Kexar's reptilian features showed what might have been frustration. "Your people, you build technology like children playing with blocks. No harmony, no order. Every device speaks its own language. Every signal fights with every other signal." Amy's eyes lit up with understanding. "Our technological development was uncoordinated. Different countries, different companies, different standards. We never unified our systems." "Yes," Kexar agreed. "Other worlds develop technology in harmony. Yours is chaos made real, and our systems cannot process chaos." Meanwhile, the Draconian fleet's problems worsened. Ships collided as their proximity sensors failed. Food synthesizers produced inedible sludge. Life support systems cycled between freezing cold and unbearable heat. Commander Zarthek called an emergency meeting of his senior officers. The proud warriors of the Empire looked shaken. "Perhaps we should retreat," suggested Captain Larsh. "Regroup and return with shielded systems." "The Empire does not retreat," Zarthek snarled. "We adapt. We overcome." But privately, doubt gnawed at him. How had the Empire's greatest military minds overlooked this possibility? How had a primitive world become their greatest challenge? On Earth, President Rodriguez met with world leaders via secure video conference. The capture of Kexar had given them hope. "The alien confirms what our scientists suspected," she reported. "Their technology is vulnerable to our electromagnetic environment. The question is, how do we use this advantage?" The Chinese president spoke first. "We could increase our broadcasts, fill every frequency with maximum power." "That would affect our own systems too," warned the British Prime Minister. Amy Chen, who had been invited to brief the leaders, offered a solution. "We don't need more power. We need more chaos. If we randomize our signals, create unpredictable patterns, it might increase the interference. The plan was approved immediately. Every radio station, every cell tower, every satellite dish on Earth began broadcasting random signals. Amateur radio operators joined in. Children with walkie-talkies contributed to the electromagnetic storm. The effect on the Draconian fleet was immediate and devastating. The Dominator's main computer shut down completely. 3 destroyers collided when their navigation failed, simultaneously. A carrier's hyperdrive began charging without command, threatening to tear the ship apart. Kexar watched the Earth's response from his hospital bed. "Remarkable," he told Amy. "You fight without weapons. You use your weakness as strength. Will your commander surrender?" Amy asked. Kexar's scaled face showed something like sadness. "Commander Zarthek is proud. He has never known defeat. He will not accept it from primitives." As the 6th day dawned, the Draconian fleet was in chaos. Half the ships were without power. Others drifted aimlessly, their crews struggling with failing life support. The mighty Third Fleet, terror of the galaxy, was being defeated by radio waves and television signals. Commander Zarthek stood alone on his darkened bridge. Emergency lights cast strange shadows on his reptilian features. His empire had given him the finest fleet in known space, and now he watched it die. "Commander," Vortak reported, "we must retreat while we still can. If we stay, we risk losing everything." Zarthek remained silent. Through the viewport he could see Earth, that small blue world that had brought him to ruin. How would he explain this to the Empire? How could he tell them that chaos itself had been their enemy? "Prepare the emergency hyperdrive," he finally ordered. "Signal all ships that can still respond. We leave. Now." But even that simple order proved difficult. The fleet's quantum communication system had completely failed. Some ships received the message, others didn't. As the surviving vessels tried to form up for departure, their movements were erratic, uncoordinated. On Earth, Jake watched the alien fleet's desperate attempts to retreat. "They're running," he announced to the command center. "We're actually winning." But Amy felt no celebration. She watched the sensor data with growing concern. "Jake, their hyperdrive systems are severely damaged. If they try to jump in this condition..." She didn't need to finish. Everyone understood. A failed hyperdrive jump could tear holes in space itself. As the 7th day arrived, the deadline the Draconians had set for Earth's surrender, the roles had reversed. The mighty conquerors were now struggling to escape, while the primitive world they had come to subjugate watched their desperate flight. The last message from Commander Zarthek would echo through the galaxy. "The humans are not what they seem. They are chaos incarnate." The morning sun painted the Nevada desert gold as Amy Chen stood outside the secure facility. Inside, Kexar had been working with Earth scientists for 2 days, helping them understand the crisis unfolding in space. "The hyperdrives are failing," Kexar explained to the gathered team. "When a quantum drive destabilizes, it doesn't just destroy the ship, it tears reality itself." Jake Matthews leaned forward. "What exactly are we looking at?" Kexar drew symbols on a digital board. "Imagine space as fabric. A hyperdrive creates a fold in that fabric, allowing ships to skip across vast distances. But if the fold tears, the ships get pulled into the tear," Amy finished. "Into a place, between dimensions. Not just the ships," Kexar corrected. "Anything nearby. The tear grows, consuming matter and energy." The implications were terrifying. Jake immediately contacted the command center. "We need to warn them. If they try to jump..." But in space, Commander Zarthek was beyond warnings. His pride burned, hotter than his fear. The Dominator's emergency systems had given him partial control, and he was determined to save what remained of his fleet. "All ships prepare for emergency jump," he commanded through the failing communication system. "Set coordinates for the Imperial Starbase." His second-in-command, Sub-Commander Vector, dared to question. "Commander, the risk..." The risk of staying is greater. Zarthek cut him off. We jump in 30 seconds. Only half the fleet received the order clearly. Ships struggled to align their damaged hyperdrives. The Draconian Armada, once a perfect example of military precision, now looked like scattered toys thrown by an angry child on Earth. Every monitoring station detected the energy buildup. Alarms screamed as sensors registered quantum fluctuations beyond anything in human experience. "They're powering up their hyperdrives," Amy announced, her face pale. All of them at once. President Rodriguez appeared on the main screen from the White House Situation Room. "Can we stop them?" Amy shook her head. "We don't have that technology. We can only watch." In space, the first hyperdrive activated. The destroyer Razor's Edge flickered like a bad television image, then simply vanished. But something was wrong. Where the ship had been, space itself seemed to ripple. "Successful jump," reported a bridge officer on the Dominator. But Kexar, watching the sensor data from Earth, knew better. "No," he whispered. "They didn't make it through." More ships attempted the jump. The carrier Stormbringer engaged its drive and disappeared in a flash of light. The cruiser Death's Herald followed. Then the battleship Iron Fist. Each jump left space more unstable. Reality itself began to fray at the edges where the ships had been. Then it happened. The dreadnought Galactic Hammer's hyperdrive failed mid-jump. The massive ship stretched like taffy, its hull twisting impossibly. Then space tore open. The tear was small at first, no bigger than a pinhole. But it grew rapidly, pulling in debris, energy, even light itself. The Galactic Hammer was caught between dimensions, half in normal space, half somewhere else. The crew's screams echoed across subspace frequencies before cutting off abruptly. "By the Seven Suns," Zarthek breathed, watching his fleet die. More tears opened as damaged hyperdrives failed. Ships were pulled apart at the molecular level. Others simply ceased to exist, erased from reality as if they had never been. The Dominator's own hyperdrive began charging. Zarthek felt the ship vibrate as damaged systems struggled to create a stable fold in space. "Commander, we must abort," Vortak shouted over the alarms. But it was too late. The hyperdrive sequence couldn't be stopped once initiated. Zarthek gripped his command chair as reality bent around his ship. On Earth, Amy and her team watched in horror as space itself began to unravel. The tiers were merging, creating a massive wound in the fabric of the universe. "It's forming a singularity," Amy reported. "Not a black hole, something worse. A quantum singularity." The president's voice was steady despite the crisis. "What does that mean for Earth?" "At this distance, we're safe, but anything within 1,000,000 kilometers, the remaining Draconian ships were pulled inexorably toward the growing singularity. Some tried to fly away on conventional engines, but the quantum distortion was too strong. Zarthek felt his ship stretching, reality becoming fluid around him. In his final moments, he understood the truth. They hadn't been defeated by weapons or strategy. They had been defeated by chaos itself, by a universe that seemed to favor disorder over order. "The humans," he managed to say as his bridge dissolved into quantum static. "They are chaos incarnate. The universe protects them." The Dominator vanished into the singularity, followed by the rest of the Third Fleet. 200 ships, the pride of the Draconian Empire, disappeared into a fold in space-time that shouldn't exist. Then, as suddenly as it had formed, the singularity collapsed. Space healed itself, leaving no trace of the massive fleet that had threatened Earth just days before. In the Nevada facility, silence filled the room. Scientists stared at screens showing empty space where an armada had been. "They're gone," Amy said quietly. "All of them." Kexar bowed his scaled head. "My people. My fleet. Lost to their own pride." Jake placed a hand on the alien's shoulder. "I'm sorry." "Don't be," Kexar replied. "They came to conquer. They found something they couldn't understand. Perhaps this was always meant to happen." President Rodriguez addressed the world an hour later. "The threat has passed," she announced. "The Draconian fleet is gone. Not by our weapons, but by their own actions. Earth is safe. But even as celebrations began across the planet, Amy couldn't shake a feeling of unease. They had witnessed something unprecedented, an entire fleet erased from existence, and it had happened right on Earth's doorstep. "What happens now?" she asked Jake as they watched the sunset paint the desert red. "Now we prepare," Jake replied, "because the galaxy just learned that Earth defeated the Draconian Empire. Everyone will want to know how." In his quarters, Kexar recorded a message on human equipment. He knew the Galactic Council would demand answers. The Empire would want revenge. And Earth, the small blue world that had seemed so primitive, would find itself at the center of galactic attention. The message was simple. The Third Fleet is lost. Earth possesses a defense we do not understand. Approach with caution. As night fell, Amy returned to her lab. The quantum readings from the singularity were unlike anything in theoretical physics. Earth hadn't just survived first contact. It had rewritten the rules of space warfare. The next morning brought new challenges. Satellites detected probe ships at the edge of the solar system. Different designs, different origins. The galaxy had noticed Earth's accidental victory. "They're not attacking," reported Captain Lisa Chen from the monitoring station. "They're observing, studying us." Jake understood immediately. "They want to know our secret." "What do we tell them?" President Rodriguez asked during the emergency conference. Amy had spent the night analyzing data. "The truth, that we don't fully understand it ourselves. Our technological chaos, our position in space, the quantum resonance, it all combined to create a perfect storm. And the singularity? That was the Draconians doing. Their damaged hyperdrives created a cascade failure. We didn't cause it, we just survived it." As Earth's leaders prepared for the next phase of first contact, Kexar made a decision. He would stay on Earth, help them navigate the complex politics of the galaxy. His own people might consider him a traitor, but he had seen something in humanity that gave him hope. "You are not ready for the galaxy," he told Amy and Jake. "But perhaps the galaxy is not ready for you either." The stars looked different now. They weren't just lights in the sky anymore, they were home to civilizations that now knew Earth existed. Some would come as friends, others as enemies. But all would come with the same question. How did a primitive world defeat the mighty Draconian Empire? And Earth would have to find an answer because the universe was watching. 2 weeks after the Draconian fleet vanished, a different kind of ship appeared near Jupiter. It was elegant, almost artistic, with curves that seemed to flow like water frozen in space. The ship sent a single message to Earth. "The Galactic Council requires answers. Prepare one representative for transport." After much debate, Maria Torres was chosen. The 50-year-old diplomat had spent her career building bridges between nations. Now she would represent all of humanity. "Remember," President Rodriguez told her, "we don't fully understand what happened either. Be honest about that." The council ship's interior was unlike anything Maria had imagined. Corridors shifted and changed as she walked, adapting to her presence. She was led to a small chamber where 3 aliens waited. "I am Ambassador Shintar of the Zenthari," said a being that looked like living crystal. "These are council observers, from the Morvac Union and the Celestial Collective." Maria had been briefed by Kexar about the major galactic powers. The Zenthari were ancient, considered the wisest race in known space. The Morvac were traders and diplomats. The Celestial Collective was a hive mind that spanned 12 worlds. "The council convenes at Nexus Station," Shintar explained. "The journey will take 3 days. During this time, we will prepare you for what awaits." As the ship entered hyperspace, Maria felt a strange sensation, like falling in all directions at once. When it passed, she found herself in a room with walls that showed the swirling colors of hyperspace itself. Back on Earth, Jake Matthews worked with the world's military leaders to prepare defenses. Not against attack, but against the scrutiny that was sure to come. "We need to understand this ourselves," he told the assembled generals and admirals. "If we can't explain it, others will draw their own conclusions." Amy Chen led a team of scientists, studying what they had begun calling the Terran paradox. Using data from the Draconian disaster, they mapped Earth's unique position in the cosmic web. Look at this, Amy showed the team. Earth sits at the intersection of 5 major gravitational streams. Add our electromagnetic noise, and we create a natural disruption field. Dr. Peter Walsh added his findings. It's not just random. The chaos has patterns like fractals. Ordered systems can't process fractal chaos. On the Council ship, Maria learned about galactic civilization. The universe was vast and full of life, but most species followed similar technological paths. They developed quantum computers, unified field theories, harmonic energy systems. Only Earth had taken a different route. Your world is an anomaly, Shintar explained. You reach space travel without first achieving technological harmony. It should be impossible. We're stubborn, Maria replied with a smile. We make things work even when they shouldn't. The Morvac observer, a creature that looked like a giant praying mantis made of metal, clicked its mandibles. The Draconian Empire demands justice. They claim you used a weapon of mass destruction. We used no weapons, Maria insisted. Their own damaged systems created the singularity. That is what the Council must determine, Shintar said. Nexus. Station appeared before them like a small moon made entirely of technology. Ships from 100 worlds docked at its ports. Maria saw vessels that defied physics, structures that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions at once. The Council chamber was a sphere with no visible walls, just stars in all directions. Representatives from every major civilization floated in assigned positions. At the center, the Council elders presided. Earth Representative Maria Torres announced a voice that seemed to come from everywhere. The Galactic Council is convened to investigate the destruction of the Draconian Third Fleet. The Draconian ambassador spoke first. Zorak was even larger than Zarthek had been, his scales black as space itself. Earth used an unknown weapon to destroy our peaceful contact fleet, he declared. 200 ships, 20,000 lives erased from existence. We demand retribution. Gasps and murmurs filled the chamber. Other representatives looked at Maria with new interest and fear. Maria stood, feeling very small, but forcing her voice to be strong. Earth used no weapons. We have evidence and a witness. She presented the data Amy's team had compiled. The Council's scientists examined the quantum signatures, the electromagnetic readings, the gravitational anomalies. Furthermore, Maria continued, we have Tactical Officer Kexar of the Draconian Fleet. He survived and can testify to what really happened. Kexar's testimony was transmitted from Earth. His words carried weight, coming from a Draconian officer. He described the cascade failure, the pride that led to disaster, the unique conditions around Earth. The humans did not attack us, Kexar concluded. We attacked ourselves by ignoring the warnings. Our technology could not function in their chaotic environment. The Council deliberated for hours. During breaks, Maria spoke with other representatives. The Altarians, peaceful scientists, were fascinated by Earth's development. The Vegan commerce. Guild saw opportunities for trade, but others, like the Rigel Military Confederacy, viewed Earth as a threat. Finally, the Council elders rendered their verdict. The evidence shows that Earth did not deliberately destroy the Draconian fleet, declared the Elder Prime. The quantum singularity was caused by failing Draconian hyperdrives, not human action. Zorak's scales darkened with rage. This is unacceptable. The Empire will have justice. The Empire will have truth, the Elder Prime responded firmly. Earth's unique conditions created a natural defense. The Third Fleet's destruction was a tragic accident caused by their own rushed actions. Another elder spoke. However, Earth's anomalous nature raises concerns. We must understand this Terran paradox. It could be a threat or a gift to galactic civilization. The Council reached a decision. Earth would be granted provisional membership in the galactic community. Scientists would be allowed to study the Terran paradox, but Earth must share their findings and agree to certain restrictions. Your world will be designated a special quantum zone, Shintar explained to Maria later. Ships approaching Earth must use shielded systems and follow specific protocols. Maria felt relief mixed with worry. What about the Draconian Empire? They won't accept this easily. The Council's decision is binding, Shintar assured her. But you are right to be cautious. The Empire has lost face. They may seek other ways to restore their honor. When Maria returned to Earth, she found the planet changed. The knowledge that they were not alone had united humanity in ways nothing else could. Old conflicts seemed petty compared to the vast stage they had just entered. President Rodriguez convened a global summit to hear Maria's report. Leaders from every nation gathered, along with scientists, military officers, and Kexar. We're safe. For now, Maria reported. But we're also under scrutiny. The galaxy sees us as either a curiosity or a threat. Jake Matthews raised a concern. What happens when they figure out how to shield against our chaos? Our natural defense won't last forever. Amy Chen had been thinking about the same problem. Then we need to understand it first. If we can control the Terran paradox, we can maintain our advantage. Kexar offered a different perspective. Or perhaps you should see this as an opportunity. Your chaos drives innovation. While others seek order, you thrive in disorder. This could be your greatest strength. As the summit continued, signals arrived from across the galaxy. Trade offers from the Vegan Commerce Guild, research proposals from the Altarian Science Collective, even a cautious greeting from the enigmatic Andromedan Watchers. But one message stood out. It came from the edge of known space, from a region called the Void March. The message was simple but ominous. Earth's chaos may be the key to stopping the darkness. The Council doesn't know what approaches. Be ready. The message vanished before it could be fully analyzed, leaving more questions than answers. What darkness, what approached? And why did someone think Earth's chaotic nature could stop it? As night fell, Maria stood on the White House lawn, looking up at stars that now held new meaning. Earth had passed its first test, but she sensed greater challenges ahead. The galaxy had noticed them, for better or worse. And somewhere in the dark between stars, something stirred. Something that had been watching the Draconian incident with great interest. Something that saw Earth's chaos not as a threat, but as a possible solution to an ancient problem. 6 months passed since the Galactic Council's verdict. Earth had changed. Cities buzzed with new energy as alien traders visited the planet's markets. Scientists from distant worlds worked alongside humans, studying the Terran paradox. The old divisions between nations seemed small compared to humanity's place in the galaxy. Jake Matthews stood in the new Global Defense Center, watching screens that showed activity across the solar system. Ships from the Vegan Commerce Guild delivered quantum processors that could function in Earth's chaotic field. Altarian research vessels mapped electromagnetic currents around the planet. "Colonel, we have visitors," Captain Lisa Chen announced. "Draconian Empire. 3 ships." Jake tensed. The Empire had been quiet since the Council's ruling. Too quiet. "Are they hostile?" "They're following protocols, sir, requesting permission to approach Earth." The lead ship's commander appeared on screen. Unlike the warriors they had seen before, this Draconian wore robes instead of armor. "I am Ambassador Vexara of the Empire. We come in peace, seeking dialogue with Earth's leaders." President Rodriguez authorized the meeting. Vexara's shuttle landed at the United Nations building, where delegates from every nation waited. The Draconian ambassador was smaller than Zarthek had been, her scales a deep purple that shifted in the light. "The Empire has done much thinking," Vexara began. "We lost our finest fleet to pride and ignorance. This has taught us humility." Maria Torres, now Earth's permanent galactic ambassador, studied the alien carefully. "What does the Empire want?" "Understanding," Vexara replied. "Your world defeated us without weapons. Your chaos became our downfall. We wish to learn from this." The negotiation lasted days. The Draconians proposed a treaty. They would help Earth develop space technology in exchange for joint research on the Terran paradox. It was a remarkable offer from an empire known for conquest, not cooperation. "Why the change?" Jake asked during a break. Kexar, who had become an advisor to Earth's leaders, explained, "The Empire is afraid. Not of Earth, but of what Earth represents: change, unpredictability. They want to understand chaos before it destroys them. While diplomats talked, Amy Chen made a breakthrough in her lab. Working with Altarian scientists, she discovered how to modulate Earth's electromagnetic field. "We can control it," she announced to the research team. "Not completely, but enough to create safe corridors for approaching ships or increase the chaos to defend ourselves." The discovery came at the perfect time. That night, every quantum sensor on Earth screamed warnings. Something was coming. Something big. It emerged from hyperspace beyond Neptune. A ship unlike anything in the Galactic Council's databases. It was massive, larger than a small moon, and it moved with purpose toward the inner solar system. Unknown. "Vessel, identify yourself," Jake broadcast on all frequencies. The response chilled everyone who heard it. The voice was mechanical, ancient, and utterly alien. "We are the Void Swarm. We consume order. We have watched your chaos with interest." Panic spread across Earth. The mysterious message from months ago suddenly made sense. The darkness. The ancient threat. It was here. Emergency meetings convened everywhere. The Galactic Council sent urgent warnings. The Void Swarm was a legend, a story told to frighten children on 1,000 worlds. Mechanical entities from outside the galaxy that consumed entire civilizations, leaving only empty space behind. "They're attracted to order," explained an emergency transmission from the Council. "The more organized a civilization, the more they hunger for it. No defense has ever stopped them." But Earth was different. Earth was chaos. As the Void Swarm ship approached, something strange happened. Its perfect formation began to waver. The smaller craft that surrounded it like a cloud started drifting off course. "They're experiencing the same problems the Draconians did," Amy reported. "But worse, much worse." The Void Swarm had evolved to consume ordered systems. Their entire existence was based on perfect synchronization, flawless communication, absolute precision. Earth's chaotic field was poison to them. "Increase the chaos," President Rodriguez ordered. "Everything we've got." Amy's team activated their new control systems. Every transmitter on Earth broadcast random signals. Amateur radio operators sent gibberish into space. Children played with remote control toys, adding to the electromagnetic storm. The effect was immediate. Void Swarm ships collided with each other. Their mothership's surface began to crack as internal systems fought conflicting commands. The perfect machine consciousness that controlled them fractured into confusion. "Your chaos, impossible," the mechanical voice transmitted. "Order must consume, cannot process." The Draconian ships, shielded with new technology, developed. From Kexar's knowledge, moved to support Earth. Vexara's voice came through the communication system. "The Empire stands with Earth. Your chaos is the galaxy's shield." Other ships arrived. The Altarians, the Vegans, even the mysterious Andromedans. They formed a perimeter around Earth, not to attack the Void Swarm, but to channel Earth's chaotic field toward them. The Void Swarm mothership tried to retreat, but its navigation systems had completely failed. It spun helplessly, smaller craft, crashing into its hull. In desperation, it attempted an emergency hyperjump. The result was spectacular. Unlike the Draconian fleet, the Void Swarm ship didn't create a singularity. Instead, it simply came apart, its perfectly ordered structure unraveling like a sweater with a pulled thread. The smaller craft shut down one by one, drifting like dead leaves in space. As the threat ended, a profound silence fell across the solar system. Then celebrations erupted on every human frequency. Earth had not just survived, it had saved the galaxy. The Galactic Council convened an emergency session. The Elder Prime's voice was filled with awe. "Earth's chaos has accomplished what no weapon could. The Void Swarm is defeated." In the months that followed, everything changed. Earth became the center of a new alliance. The Terran Defense Grid was established, a network of chaos generators that could protect allied worlds. Human ships, built with deliberately chaotic systems, became the galaxy's guardians against ordered threats. Jake Matthews was appointed commander of the new Earth Space Force. Amy Chen led the Chaos Research Institute, where scientists from across the galaxy studied Earth's unique properties. Maria Torres became the first human member of the Galactic Council. The Draconian Empire, humbled by their experience, became Earth's strongest allies. Kexar returned to his people as an ambassador, teaching them the value of controlled chaos. Vexara established the first alien embassy on Earth. "We thought order was strength," she told Maria during the ceremony. "Earth taught us that sometimes chaos is the answer." A year after first contact, President Rodriguez addressed the United Nations for the last time before it transformed into the United Earth Government. "We didn't choose to be different," she said. "Our chaotic development, our noisy world, our refusal to do things the proper way, these were seen as weaknesses. But they became our greatest strength." In space, the quantum fold where the Draconian fleet had vanished still pulsed with strange energy. Scientists studied it carefully, learning about the nature of space and time. Some claimed to detect signals from within, as if the lost fleet was trying to communicate from whatever dimension they had entered. Amy Chen often wondered about Commander Zarthek and his crew. Were they truly gone? Or were they somewhere else, learning their own lessons about the power of chaos? As Earth took its place among the stars, one truth became clear. The universe wasn't always logical. Sometimes, the most primitive approach was the most advanced. Sometimes, chaos was the ultimate order. And sometimes, the newest member of the galactic community became its unexpected guardian. Earth had found its purpose not in spite of its chaotic nature, but because of it. In a universe that often valued conformity, humanity's beautiful disorder had saved them all. The stars looked different now to the people of Earth. They were no longer distant lights but neighbors, allies, and friends. And somewhere in the cosmic dark, other threats might lurk. But Earth was ready. With chaos as their shield and diversity as their strength, humanity faced the future with confidence. After all, they were chaos incarnate. And the universe seemed to like it that way.